In the meantime, the company at the George had dispersed, and shortly after, Anthony Turnbull, who like a good landlord was always last in bed and first up in his house, was taking alone his last look round the kitchen before making his final visit to the stable yard, when Tom Scales tottered into the kitchen looking like death, his hair standing upright, and he sat down on an oak chair, all in a tremble, wiped his forehead with his hand, and instead of speaking, heaved a great sigh or two. It was not till after he had swallowed a dram of brandy that he found his voice and said, "Would the deal himself and house by Jan, you'd best send for it, sir." The clergyman. "Happen he'll take him in hand with holy writ and send him elsewhere deftly. Lord, atween us and him, I'm a sinful man. I tell you, Mr. Turnbull, I daren't stop in at George tonight under the same roof with him." "I'm not denying that, Mrs. Bunch, and to be sure many a time I've heard the tale from the men in the shipyards about the rat that could speak. I never laid no confidence in that before, but tonight, if I'd demeaned myself to lay my ear to the door of the further bin, I could pretty much have heard what they was saying. Oh, there, Mr. Parks, I no patience with your fancies. Rats talking in the wine cellar, indeed. Well, Mrs. Bunch, I've no wish to argue with you. All I say is if you choose to go to the far bin and lay your ear to the door, you may prove my words this minute." "Oh, what nonsense you do talk, Mr. Parks. Not fit for children to listen to. Why, you'll be frightening Master Stephen there out of his wits." "What, Master Stephen?" said Parks, awakening to the consciousness of the boy's presence. "Oh, Master Stephen knows well enough when I'm a playing a joke with you, Mrs. Bunch. Ha ha!" In fact, Master Stephen knew much too well to suppose that Mr. Parks had in the first instance intended a joke. He was interested, not altogether pleasantly, in the situation, but all his questions were unsuccessful in inducing the butler to give any more detailed account of his experiences in the wine cellar. When she got near to the end of the bees, I was surprised to hear there was another buck in my ear. Roland, like my guinea pig. "Roland Buck," the teacher called out. Roland Buck." No Roland Buck was forthcoming. She looked around, scanning the crowd of nervous faces, and she made a mark on her list and went on, "Jennifer Bush." But she didn't call my name. I should have been immediately after Roland Buck and before Jennifer Bush. I waited patiently as she went through the list and finally got to the end. I was left in the middle of the hall, alone and embarrassed. I flushed. "Hello," said the teacher. "Didn't you catch your name?" "No," I replied. "Well, who are you then?" "Rosalind Buck." She flipped back all the pages until she got to the bees and ran her finger down the list. "That's odd. There's only a Roland Buck, and he doesn't appear to be here. Where do you live?" I told her. "Oh, you know what? I think it's a spelling mistake. I'm going to put you over here in 1S with Mrs. Stanek, and I'll sort out the paperwork later. Sorry about that. Not a good start your first day with us. Never mind. You're where you belong now."